Alright, so what I'd like to do is start adding attributes to these feet controllers. I'm noticing that they're sitting kind of back a little bit, so I'm going to highlight both of these here, press F11, and then just hit W to move these forward a little bit, just kind of centering them so I get a little bit more space. I'm going to right click again and just go to object mode. So let's go ahead and add a foot roll slash toe roll controller. So I'm going to name this L underscore foot underscore CTRL. And I want to add an attribute in here that says foot roll slash toe pivot. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to modify, add attribute. And for the minimum, I want -10. And for the max, I want a +10. And I want it to be an integer. And for the long name, I'm going to name it foot roll slash pivot or toe pivot. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and hit add. And let's make sure this is selected. Let's do that one more time. Oh, I think the naming was off. So foot roll, I'll just do toe pivot like this. I guess I can't add that slash. Let's see if that worked. There we go. Foot roll, toe pivot. So at 0, I want it to be in this default position. So let's go ahead and select this, and then we're going to go up here, and we're going to go to key. Now I'm in the animation section, set driven key, and I want to click the options box next to set. Now I want this to be my driver, so I'm going to hit load driver. And then for the driven, I want it to be this joint here. So I'm going to hit load driven. You'll see that joint 1 appears here. This will be a little bit more transparent in a second. So when I'm at 0 for my toe pivot, I want this joint to be sitting flat, zeroed out on the z-axis. So what I want to do is on my foot controller, the driver, I want to select foot roll toe pivot. And then for the joint, I'm going to select rotate Z, and I'm going to go ahead and hit key. So what you notice is it became 0 here. When I go all the way to the right, and I go all the way to 10, I would like this to be rotated up like this. So because we have this set to 10, and we have this pivoted up, now when I hit key, notice what happens. If I go back to 0, it goes down, and up to 10, it goes up. Now, what I want to do is when I go all the way to -10, I would like this bone here to rotate on Z. Now notice this is a different joint. This is joint 2, not joint 1. So we need to do a couple things. First, on 0, we need to select this joint and key it. Well, first we need to load this as a driven. So now you can see it made a joint 2. See that there? And I'm going to go ahead and say the rotate Z on 0, notice it's 0 here, is keyed. So that's locked in. Then when I go all the way to -10, I'm going to grab this one and I'm just going to move that rotate Z all the way forward like that. And it's okay if it's a bit exaggerated. It gives you a little bit more wiggle room if you want to do some exaggerated animation. And I'm going to hit key again. Now what you'll notice is we go back and forth like that with our foot. And I can just zero that out. Another good one to do is something with this guy here, which is our um, is to kind of create a, well, you know what we'll do? A good one that I like is heel pivot here. So you can see it pivots on the heel. So let's go ahead and knock that one out in this video. All right, so I'm going to go modify, add attribute. I'm going to name this heel pivot. And for this one, I'm going to do the same thing. So minimum -10, a max of 10, an integer, and I'm going to go ahead and hit add with this selected. Now you see heel pivot pop below this. And what I'm going to do is load this as the driver, just making sure that it's still the driver. And I'm going to select heel pivot now. Notice it updated. And I'm really going to only be using this joint here. So I'm going to make sure that I click load driven. So I just have only that joint, and I'm going to go ahead and say, well, I want to rotate on the y-axis. See that? So on 0 here for my heel pivot, notice that, I'm going to go ahead and key that. So when I select this, now you'll notice that rotate Y is keyed. And what I'd like to do is when I'm all the way on 10, I'd like it to be pretty exaggerated. I'm going to just rotate that. I like to rotate it up here just to be safe. I'm going to rotate it almost completely. Let's just go ahead and do 90 here. And I'm going to key that. And let's test it. Looks pretty good. I'm going to go all the way here, minus 10, select this one, and I'm going to make this rotate Y minus 90. And I'm going to key that. I know that's a bit exaggerated. I don't know when your foot would go all the way out that way, but it's nice to know that you have those increments in there to do that. All right. Some people might do it a higher number because they want, more than 10 or whatever. Okay, I'm going to end this video here, and the next one we'll take a look at doing a hand controller.